Hello there. Well, it's been quite some time since I recorded my last video. Well, the simple reason is that I didn't play any serious chess, so I didn't have serious games to analyze. Because, as you know, this Lichess 45-45 team league I used to play just ended, and there was a few weeks pause before the new season starts. And this time I joined this LoneWolf tournament. This is a Swiss tournament in 11 rounds, and it's under 1800, so I will be playing with players of approximately my strength all the time. And this tournament is not a team league, it's individual, so it's called Lone Wolf. And I decided to give it a try. So up to now I was playing 45-45 team league, and now I play this Lone Wolf. The main difference is that Lone Wolf have some shorter time controls, so it's 30 plus 30, while the Team Link has 45-45. Okay, so yesterday I played my first game in the round 1, and I want to show you this game. So first of all, a few words about my opponent. So you can see he is lower rated than me in classical rating, but if you look at his Lichess profile, you will see that he's much higher rated in Bullet and Blitz than myself, especially in Bullet. So he has some 1800 in Bullet and I have 1300. So he's 500 points stronger in Bullet. And well, this can give you a clue what kind of player this is and what can you expect. So it can be wrong, but I expect that maybe positional game is not his strongest part of chess, and given that he has very high Bullet and Blitz rating, I suppose that he doesn't blunder so much, and that he has a very decent board vision. So this is why I decided to play this game more positionally, and I also wanted to try out some new ideas in the openings. Okay, so let's just go to the game. This was a short introduction, and well, I will lead you as we go along. So I played e4, as I almost always do. He responded e5. I played knight f3. He responded knight c6. So we have a very classical setup here. And now usually I used to play Scotch here. So maybe I will play d4. But now I wanted to try something new, and also, given the reasons I already mentioned regarding the profile of my player, I wanted to play a little more positionally and not open the game right away. So I played bishop c4, going for the Italian game. He played bishop c5, so very classical so far, and I played c3. So c3 is the typical idea in the Italian game. There are several reasons for this move. One is to prepare d4 at some point, maybe. Another one is to make a nice square for your bishop later in the game, if you have to run away with your bishop, so you have a nice spot to run away. Okay, so this is just some basic theory. Like always, I know some 5 to 7 moves of theory, so I'm playing, let's say, according to theory so far. Knight f6, okay. And now there are some branches here. So if you play d4 here, this is Giuoco piano then, and this leads actually to it's called Giuoco piano, like slow, easy game, but actually it's very tactical. If you play d4 here, black has plenty of opportunities, so he usually captures. Let me try another color. So he captures, then he gives check, then he can capture this pawn. Well, there are really lots of theory and also lots of tactical considerations which should be taken account. And like I said, I didn't want to make this game wild, so I just decided to go with Giuoco Pianissimo. So this means very quiet game, and you'll see that this leads to close position with lots of pieces maneuvering. So the idea is, at this point I'm out of the theory, but I know some basic ideas. So the idea is that this knight should go to d2, then to f1, then to g3, or maybe even e3, and then well, the idea square is this f5, and if you can post your knight on the f5, you have a very good position. So this is the idea, of course, after the castle. And then after this whole maneuver, then you can think about developing this bishop either to e3 or maybe to g5, and well, these are some basic ideas. So I continued playing to these ideas. He played a6 here. I'm not sure why. I think it would be better for him to focus on his development. He has some things to develop. Maybe he wanted b5 or something, I'm not sure. But I just castled here. And now we played d6. And now this is a very important moment, because I made a little mistake here. First of all, I will tell you what I know about, what is my knowledge about this move. So d6 protects the e5 pawn. And that means that this knight on c6 is now free to roam. And before it wasn't. So he couldn't play, for example, knight a5 here, because I would just capture his pawn. And conveniently my knight also guards this bishop. So I will just be pure pawn up. So after he plays d6, now I have to think, okay, now his knight is free to roam, and he can go to a5, harassing my bishop. And then I have to give away my nice Italian bishop. And in Italian game, this bishop is usually the strongest piece on the board, or the most important piece in the position. And I know this from theory. So if d6 is played, so this pawn is now covered, I should immediately think about how to save my bishop from the attack with knight on a5. And there are two ways to do it. So one is just to retreat it to b3, and after he plays knight to e5, I can just use this very nice c2 square, and now I protect my e4 pawn, and I can think about pushing my d pawn. So this is one way to save the bishop, and another way is to play a4. This is a more modern move, let's say, developed in the recent times with contemporary grandmasters. And the idea is basically the same. So if this bishop gets attacked, you can just retreat it to a2, and you gain some space with a4, and also you eye this diagonal all the time, and this weak f7 square. And maybe you know that Bobby Fischer, he liked this. He was famous for this Italian bishop, and he usually played something like this. So he always tried to keep this bishop on this classical a2 g8 diagonal. So if I remember this, I would probably go with bishop b3 and then bishop c2. But I didn't, because I was focused on this pin. So immediately after he played d6, I said, oh, okay, so I forgot everything I just told you, and I was focused about bishop to g4 and pinning my knight. And then I thought a little, and I remembered, I saw this earlier. So if I move this rook, if I do this knight maneuvering, and then I bring my knight to g3, then I can play h3, and you see this, my knight here covers this h5 square. So his bishop will be very bad placed here. So he will play this. Okay, so his bishop on g4 would be very bad placed, and I can chase it away to some passive outpost, some passive square like g6 or something. So I was thinking all this, and this was correct. So everything I just told you was correct from the theoretical aspect and positional and whatever, but I should have thought about my c4 bishop. Okay, but I didn't, so I played the rook e1, and he immediately played knight a5. Okay, so what now? I will now lose my bishop, and I just wanted to make the best of it. So computer suggests I should play b4 here, and then let him capture, then capture this bishop, and well, it leads to somewhat complicated position. But I thought, okay, if I need to lose this bishop, I'll just play bishop b3, and then I will capture with my e pawn, and I will activate my rook. So I will get at least something from losing the bishop pair. So he took, and I took with my a pawn, and now I have activated my rook somewhat. Okay, it's not ideal, but it's not a bad position after all. And now he plays this bishop g4, like I thought he would, and I start my knight maneuvering. So knight bd2, he castles, logical move. Knight f1, I'm continuing with my maneuvers. Bishop h5 here. I don't really understand the point of this move. He doesn't have much better moves, but why bishop h5? I don't understand what. Maybe he wanted to. Maybe he wanted to play this knight to g4, and then he has very strong grip of my f2 pawn, which will be difficult to defend without destroying my structure. So maybe this was the motivation, I cannot know. But anyway, I just continued my plan. So knight to g3, and now I'm attacking this bishop. He retreats bishop g6. So everything was according to the plan, and now, well, my knight on b1 actually belongs to f5. So my idea is to have the knight on f5. And now if I would play immediately f5, then he can capture, and then I don't gain much from this, so I decided to put my knight here, but my other knight. So I played this knight h4 move, and now when I put this knight here, even if he captures, I can just capture with my other knight, and I will have knight on f5 forever. The only way he can chase away my knight on f5 is maybe after the exchange. He can play something like g6, but then his h6 square is very weak. I can put my knight here, or I can even put my bishop here, and maybe bring my queen, and it wouldn't be very nice for black. So he played queen d7. Again, I'm not sure about this move. Maybe he's still hoping to play this knight g4 move. Probably. So he wants to make pressure on my f2, but I never allowed this. So when I played the knight h to f5, well, his diagonal is now blocked, and he cannot do anything. And now he played h6, so he wants now to make life difficult for this bishop on c1. So the natural square for this bishop on c1 will be to be developed on g5. So I cannot do it now. So how can I develop this bishop? It will be a problem in the future, as you will see. So I can offer the exchange here, or I don't know. But okay, and here I saw one tactical opportunity. So I played queen to f3 here, and the idea was that I can capture this pawn on h6 with check, and if he captures with his pawn, then I can capture his knight, and I'm a pawn up, and I have very active pieces, still attacking h6 and so on. So this was the idea, and well, later I wasn't happy about this move, although the engine thinks in this position this is the best move to play. So I played the best engine move, but I'm not happy with it, because, well, this is a threat. And if he doesn't see it, great. But you have to assume that he will see this, and he can defend this knight, for example, with his queen, which he did. So he just played queen d8, and I don't have any continuation here. So I think here maybe it will be better. This is just my thinking. I'm not sure I'm correct, but just to prepare f4, so to tuck my king on h1 and just play f4 here. So initiating the pawn break, opening the f file, and then I can bring my queen and my rook on f file, and then I can start some kind of attack. So I wasn't very happy with this move, but okay, it's obviously not a bad move because, well, Angel likes this. Okay, so he played queen d8, so now defending this knight, so I cannot now do this combination. And well, now the position is very closed, and I wasn't sure what to do, so I just wanted to play according to some general principles. So engine here suggests move like b4 or maybe even d4 or something like that to break the position and to advance my pawns to get some more space and so on. But I wasn't sure about this pawn play, so I decided to play it another way around. So I played rook d1. So putting rook on the same file as the queen, and this is almost always good. So I read somewhere, I don't know if it was Roman Fine or in some book, someone said that if there is only one rule which never fails and you can never go wrong with a rule, then this is the rule: put your rook on the same file as the queen. So you cannot go wrong with doing this. And now by doing this, putting this rook here, I now maybe can think about d4 and d4, and now this can be opened, and I can open the file with tempo and have control over the d file. He played a d5 here, so now he wants to open the position, but this can also lead to locking the position. And you can see that my active play is on the king side. So if you can, let's say, divide the board in two parts, so all my pieces are looking, this bishop. So all my pieces are active on his king side, and this means that I want to get things in the center sorted out. So I want the center to be fixed, or to release the tension in the center, so I could focus on the play on the king side. Okay, so in this position I played bishop e3, so I wasn't sure what to do, and the engine think this was a mistake, that I should have played just b4 here. But my idea was bishop e3, so if he accepts the exchange, I can just take with my f pawn, and suddenly I would have very nice control over d4, and also I could bring my rook to f1 and have this battery for the future attack. So, but if he doesn't, okay, I can still make use of this, because the center will be locked most likely, and I like center locked here because I have a game on the king side. So he played d4 here, and no, I didn't take, because probably I will just be left with my weak d pawn here. So I played bishop d2, retreating my bishop, and if he takes now, I can just break my double pawns, or I can even thinking about activating my bishop in this way. He played b5. I don't think this is a good move, mostly because his a6 pawn is now weak, and I have the control of this semi-open file. And you will see later in the game this will this will come to the payment. So okay, and now I was thinking about this position. What should I do? What should be my long-term plan? And like I said earlier, I think the f4 pawn break is now something I should be looking for, opening the f file and bringing my heavy pieces to f file and launch some kind of attack. So in order to play f4, first I have to move away my king, because it's x-rayed by this dark square bishop, and I have to move away my queen, and then I can play f4 and maybe activate my dark square bishop with this move, because as you can see, this dark square bishop is very weak. It's not a very good piece. It's blocked from this side, and all these squares are controlled by black. So I moved my king h1, bishop b6 from his side. So he probably wants to bring more pawns here to try to attack and to play on the queen side. And maybe this is not such a bad strategy, because, well, he doesn't want to play on the king side, obviously, because I have all my pieces on the king side. So he wants to play on the queen side to get some space, maybe put his rooks behind his pawns and try to do something. So maybe this was not so bad from his side. queen e2, so I'm continuing with my plan. I want to play f4, c5. So he continues with his play. He's trying to get some activity on the queen side, and now I play f4. Okay, he plays a bishop c7, so now he's covering this square, and now I play the rook f1, continuing with my plan. And the engineer here suggests some different idea, which which maybe I should have considered, but I didn't. So the idea was, instead of rook f1, just to play knight h6 here to sacrifice this knight. Now after g takes h6, I can play f5. If he retreats his bishop, then I can have bishop takes h6. And now you can see that, well, I have a very strong attack, so I am a piece down here, but he has to move his rook, and well, then I can somehow continue my attack here. So I could give a piece for 2 pawns and attack. But okay, I didn't consider this seriously, and I just played rook f1 here. He now plays queen to d7. Again, I'm not so... I don't think I really understand this move. Why did he play this? He probably wanted to connect his rooks, make space for his rooks or something, but well, I'm not really sure. So I continued f takes e5, so now I have opened f file as I wanted. Bishop takes e5 now, and I played here bishop f4, again offering the exchange of bishops. So you can see that my bishop here, like I said, it's not very good bishop, so it's blocked, so not much squares. And on the other hand, this bishop is very strong. It controls the whole diagonal. This diagonal is open, so I think I wanted to exchange. And well, if he took, I can bring my rook, and then I can bring another rook, and then I can bring my queen, and I can have a very strong attack here. And now he declines the exchange, and he plays queen to c7. And now again I'm thinking about this tactics, so if I could get this bishop out of the way and have this knight only protected by the g pawn, then I can take knight takes g6, he takes, and I can take this knight. So this is the idea, and this is why I played queen f3. Although the engine thought that I should take and sacrifice this knight for an attack, but I don't see this clearly. So I played queen f3, and now I have 2 attackers on this knight. And once I remove this defender, and then I can do my combination. He played a5 here. Well, I'm not sure why, but he probably just wanted to continue his play on the queen side. And well, here I didn't calculate very clearly, so I wanted to take this bishop and then continue with my combination. So this is what I saw. So bishop takes e5, queen takes e5, knight takes h6, and now he doesn't have to take. He can play king to h7. So this c3 pawn is attacked twice, and my knight is attacked. So I have to think about how to save my knight. So for example, I can play something like knight to g4, and well, it becomes complicated now. I wasn't sure how to deal with this. I was afraid that he can somehow penetrate on c3, and I wanted to avoid this. So for example, it could go something like this, and maybe, okay, here, and now he's penetrating my position. So this is what I saw. So I saw the queen on c3 after this sequence of moves, and I didn't like the idea of his queen being in my camp, so I didn't play this move. So instead I played c4 here, just to avoid this complication, and to stop him from attacking my c3. But actually this was wrong, because I could have played this combination. I just had to see one in between moves. So this is the correct variation. So bishop takes bishop, queen takes bishop, and now I don't do this immediately, but I just play this in between move. So pawn takes on d4, and now after c takes d4, and now I can play this. And when he takes, I can take the knight. So this was the combination. So I didn't see this in between move, c takes d4, and this is why I didn't play this. But instead I played c4, so hoping to get rid of this this problem. And now to avoid this all combination, black should just exchange. So he could take the bishop, I can take the bishop back, he can exchange queens, and I don't have much here. So in this position, it's almost equal. I don't have much to show here. But he didn't. He played b4, luckily for me, so completely locking the position. And now I have this combination finally, and now it's very, very clear. So I just play this very fast. So bishop takes e5, queen takes e5, knight takes h6 check, g takes h6, queen takes f6, and this is the end of combination, and I am now a pawn up. And well, now my opponent decided to trade queens, and I was okay with this. I don't think that he should have traded the queens here, but okay. So I took the queen back, of course, and he now plays king g7, trying to kick my rook away. And now I see the opportunity to win another pawn, so rook to c6, attacking this pawn. The only way to defend this pawn is to play as he did rook f c8, but now I can take this rook, he has to take back, and now this a pawn. So if you remember this very early move when I said that my rook is active on the a file, and this is a kind of compensation for losing my bishop pair, and now this finally I finally cashed on this, so rook takes a5. And now let's look at the time. So I had 6 minutes and he had 18 minutes. So he was playing faster than me, which is logical because he's very good bullet and blitz player. So I expect him to play faster. And now he just started to play very, very fast. And well, this is the end game. And I tend to play slow in the end games. I don't want to blunder. I have 2 pawns up. The computer evaluates this position as plus 2.8, so it's a winning position, and I just don't want to blunder anything. So it takes time for me not to blunder. So he plays now h5. He just wants to I don't know, attack my knight or something. I played king g1, so I wanted to activate my king. So the engine says this was a mistake, that the better move was to try to immediately activate my knight, but okay. And now he played h4. I have to move away my knight, and now he played f5 here. So he wants to exchange pawns. I think in principle this is a good strategy. So if you can exchange pawns when you are down material, you should strive to exchange pawns, so that gives you more chance for a draw. So he wants to exchange pawns. Okay, I have to take it practically. He takes back. And now this position, I made a mistake here, but you can see my time. So I'm 3 minutes. So I'm now starting to feel a real time pressure, and he has 19 minutes. So I can see that he has all the time in the world, and I'm pressured. So I just wanted to not to blunder and not to lose material. This was my main concern. So he's now attacking my d3 pawn. Well, first of all, I have a tactics here which I missed. So the tactics is I could just take this d4 pawn, and if he takes back, I just take his bishop. And now I'm 3 pawns up, and this is completely winning. So this was one possible response. He could also decide to take this this pawn. But in this case, I can still take this pawn, and if he takes, I have this nice fork here. And I even saw this fork. So at this position, I saw that this pawn and this king can be forked by knight here. but I didn't know how to take advantage of this. So this is obviously the best move, the winning move, the tactics which I missed. So I need to defend this d3 pawn, and I could do this just by play f4, knight f4. So defending this pawn, but with some activity. And I didn't do this because it was a very blur for me, the continuation, so I was afraid of something like this. And now I'm not sure how can I stop him to take this pawn. I mean, I cannot stop him here, but well, I could take this pawn instead and just take advantage of this fork. Like I said, I don't know. This is probably much better move than the move I played. And I was also afraid if I go knight f4 that he can somehow harass my knight, and then I have to run away with my knight, and he will get my d3 pawn. But this is also not rational fear, because I could just play g3 here, and if he takes, I take, and then I can bring my king to f2, and I have everything covered. So I shouldn't be afraid of knight to f4. But like I said, I was in the time trouble, and I couldn't calculate all this very clearly, and I just wanted to hold my position, and so I devised another plan. So my plan was to play knight c1, which engine says it's a blunder, because of course I missed the winning move. And so my plan was this: I will put my knight on c1. So now I'm defending both pawns, which can be targeted by his light square bishop. And now I will slowly get my king to protect these pawns, or at least this is enough. So I will get my king to guard the pawns, and then I will activate my knight after my king gets to the queen side. So this was the plan. So it was very slow plan. But on the other hand, I didn't think what can he do here. So he's also out of ideas here, and I thought, okay, I have a time, so I will just bring my king, and then I will activate my knight. He played king f6, so he wanted to activate his king. I played king f2, continue with my plan, king g5, and now king e2. So I'm just trying to defend this pawn so I can activate my knight. King f4 here. And now, well, he could have some ideas of pushing this pawn, and then maybe go after my h2 pawn, or if I take, he can maybe go after my h3 pawn. Okay, there are some ideas here. But I just continue with my plan, so king d2. So now I'm ready to activate my knight. My king has this pawn covered. He played king g4, so probably trying to play h3 and then do something here. I played rook a7, so I wanted to put my rook on the 7th rank and then make this rook more active. King f4, so he moved away from this check. Knight e2 check. Now I just activated my knight, as was my plan all along. He plays king g5. And now I play rook e7, which is a dubious move, but please take into account that I am now very low on time. I have less than 3 minutes, and this can be a very long endgame. So I had to make quick moves. So my moves had to be within the increment, so I could have time, maybe if the situation becomes even more complicated in the future. So it's all about time management. And now, well, my idea was simple. I didn't want him to take hold of this e-file, because then he can put his bishop and then he can attack my knight twice. So I just wanted to take hold on the open file. So this move is just based on general principles. Take hold on the open file. Nothing much more here. Knight to f6. Now he attacks my rook. I didn't see this move. Now I have to retreat my rook, and actually the only safe place is a7. So I played rook a7. He played rook c6 here. I'm not really sure why. And then again, I was out of ideas. So I could play rook to a8 and then activate my rook over the 8th rank. but I wasn't sure how to follow up with this, so I just again relied on the general principles, and general principle says that rooks belong behind passed pawns, and I can create passed pawn here, so I can just play h3 and I have a passed pawn. So I played rook a1, which is which is a passive move. Now my rook is not as active. Clearly, it's not nearly as active as it was before. But well, now I can protect my knight. If he attacks my knight twice, like I said, he can do something like this and attack my knight twice. So I can defend it if need be. I can defend also this pawn. Okay, this pawn is not targeted, but I can defend this pawn, and I can also put my rook behind my passed pawn if I get to create one. So well, this is a very passive play, and but given the time trouble, I just wanted to hold my position here. And maybe this is not the best strategy, but well, I just didn't want to lose to start dropping pawns and so on. So king g5, and now rook f1. I try to activate my rook a bit. Bishop g4 here, and now I play a knight to f4. So I want to activate my knight, so finally I play knight to f4. Now he plays rook to f6. He's now pinning my knight, but luckily I have this g3, so I can defend it. And well, the computer evaluation, also I'm 2 pawns up. It's 0.0, so it's a technical draw here. In this position, because I have these double pawns, I cannot make use of my majority here, and he can hold this position. Although he's a pawn down here, he can hold this. And like I said, being a pawn up here doesn't really matter because I cannot create a passed pawn. So technically this is a draw, but well, when two amateurs play, there is plenty of play here. But at this point he made a blunder, so he played bishop h3. So he was probably thinking that I cannot take the bishop because he will just take my rook. And now he's attacking my rook, and well, this is probably his idea, but he didn't see that after knight take h3 is a check. So he doesn't have time to take my rook, and well, he will either lose the rook or lose the piece. So this is how the game ended. He saw that he blundered here, and he immediately resigned after I take on h3. Okay, so this brings us to the end of this analysis. Like I said, this was round 1, and I won, and I can tell that I won this strategically, because the game was very closed most of the game, and there were many pieces. There were much piece maneuvering, even some pawn play, and okay, I'm satisfied with this game. I didn't make much blunders. My time management could have been better. Once again, I was in the time trouble in the end game, and maybe this is something I should be working on. But anyway, it's good for the self-confidence, because for the last week or something, I just kept on losing. I dropped more than 50 points in my rapid rating, and I was a little bit worried that that my chess is going worse, not better. And maybe it's still true, but it's nice to win round 1. It gives you confidence, and I'm looking forward to the next game. So like I said, there will be 11 games here, and I will play this every week, and I will analyze this on my channel. So stay tuned. If you like this video, please click the like button, subscribe, share the content, whatever you like, and by all means leave the comment below. See you very soon. Cheers.